we're going to the what, but we're going to the what about. You're changing the topic.
No,
who are you?
No.
It's a different, because my original question is, who are you to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his home?
Well, I don't.
It's real simple. It's real simple. Who are you to tell another man how to talk to his wife in his home? Simple. For me, I don't get involved with that.
Do you think you should be able to tell a man how to talk to his wife in his house?
I think that men should conduct themselves with biblical standards when it comes to...
But answer my question. Do you think it's your place to tell men how to talk to their wives in their home? Yes or no?
I think it is perfectly reasonable to say that a man should hold himself to a Christian standard in the home.
Okay, so you do think it's your place. And this is what I mean when I say a lot of conservative women aren't really conservative.
That's true. Well, what it ends up being is woman sad, man mean. Woman sad, man bad.
Because you're first from a biblical point of view, you are supposed to be obedient to your husband in all things. So
just to be clear, Pearl is very biased one way, but she is right here, and she's talking about people who believe this, not telling other people who don't to believe it. People get confused about this stuff. She's talking about people who purport themselves to believe this stuff, and she's like, you really don't believe what you're pretending to believe. But a man, the obedience goes both ways, but that's irrelevant from this. I just want to make sure I'm balanced, even though she's not.
For conservative women, we'll talk about the disobedience. Their first thing is their tone.
Yes, the tone policing.
That's
super
before,
out of control.
But I could show this because there's video after video after video. Not a single conservative woman said, "Oh, hey, she didn't listen to her husband." Mm-hmm. Not one. That's crazy to me. And then we want to say, like, men go get married to conservative women. Most of them aren't really conservative.
Let's bring up the Lauren Southern.
That was a fire right there. That was the clip. So let me pause this. I'm going to go back to what we're doing with Timcast before, man. This is going to be a while to bring. So now we've heard the clip that led to that. You see, the context for that's really important. I mean, Pearl doesn't care on X. She's getting views. She's bad. She's in the middle of a battle. But for me to do a react, I think the value is to give you the context, assuming that you haven't seen it. Let's pick this back up with Timcast.
Pearl has been tweeting about, where she says that many of these conservative women are feminists telling other men in other households how to lead their families. There's a lot to break down here, and there's actually a very personal component to this, where Pearl is calling women ugly and old, and women are calling her refrigerator body, and oh man, you gotta love the internet. But I do think, considering this is a big cultural issue right now pertaining to the fertility rate, the whether or not people are at replacement levels, meaning
it's weird. We're caring about this more than the politicians. I don't hear any politicians, maybe outside of Josh Hawley and, maybe a couple that are MAGA-ish type politicians. So maybe less than 5 in DC. I don't hear anybody really talking about this. It's like when you want to talk about an existential crisis, that's literally what we are talking about with the birth rates tumbling.
If you are a couple, you have 2 kids, and without getting too much into personal details, fully acknowledging that I am 38, unmarried, have no kids. I am currently in a relationship, working on family stuff, and that's none of your business.
I agree, Tim, so that you don't have to bring that up. But then later on, Tim's going to start bringing up Pearl personally, though. You see the problem that I have? And I got to think through this. This is not a diss Tim, because it might be somebody new to the channel watching this. I am a big Tim Pool fan. It's not to diss Tim. I see an inconsistency here. Tim said, well, I'm this, and it doesn't matter. Your take is your take. It doesn't matter that you're not married. You don't have kids. Your take is legit or it's not legit. And he will go on later to start talking about Pearl and her personal life, but that's fair game, but his isn't. No, my take is both of their personal lives are not relevant to this conversation.
But I do think it's really funny how internet drama begins to erupt over these issues, considering the importance of this, quite literally the survival of humanity. I think we should actually dive into this.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I do need to tell everybody, for our more inexperienced audience members, I mean this with no disrespect, there are a lot of people that are commenting that tend to comment on when I'm talking to a guest. This really blows my mind, the media literacy of this era. So, for instance, Pearl Davis says something like, homes without fathers tend to be worse than homes without mothers. And then I will respond with, do you actually think X, Y, and Z, or is it Y? The purpose of a question when I follow up with someone like Pearl is not to not understand. For those that are not familiar with shows like this, it's because many people watching may need a little bit more information to truly understand the point.
And Tim did a great job during that. It was a great episode. I mean, it's a fascinating episode, Tim, and you can see I'm still talking about it. He did a great job with that.
Follow-up questions, and you'll actually hear me say to Pearl, like, hey, what about X, Y, and Z? And then she'll say A, B, and C, and I'll go, I actually agree. Okay, just wondering. People don't seem to understand that questions are not designed, are not because I don't understand. It's because I'm trying to help an audience understand who Pearl is.
Yes, he's bringing, and it's very helpful. I forget to bring context all the time. I did that video with Rob Smith, and I provided no context. People didn't know what was going on. That's good to have someone who says, well, hold up. What does this mean? What are you really saying here?
I've seen her stuff. I know a lot about her. But let's talk about this issue right now, because I think this one is really important. And then, oh boy, I hope you're ready for some E-drama, cat fight, girl bickering, or whatever you want to call it. And I do have some personal opinions about Pearl. She's very smart, but I do think, and I'm gonna say this right away, and a lot of people have expressed this, she seems hurt. I don't mean this as an emotional dig. I think Pearl Davis is jaded. I think that she's got a chip on her shoulder of sorts. And when you say something like that about someone, they usually take it as an insult. It's a dig at somebody. I don't know how else to say it. I think Pearl Davis's opinions are partially informed by a bias against women that may be rooted in jealousy. I mean that sincerely. I think Pearl Davis is very smart. I think she's right about a lot of the things she's bringing up. I think she's wrong about a lot. She said something like women's jobs tend to be.
So let me, before you go on, because I didn't hear you disagree with a lot of what Pearl said. And what it comes across to me now as is Tim coming to Pearl is really slaying Lauren Chen. And it seems to me like it comes across as Tim is taking a position to kind of defend Lauren Chen here. And I don't understand it. Maybe there's some personal reason for, he's cool with her or whatever. I mean, she might be involved with tenant media. I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe Pearl is jaded. I don't, jaded, jealous. I mean, what does that have to do with her takes, though? Why are we bringing that up? I don't even understand. What does that have to do with anything? You agree with a lot of her takes. Either agree with her takes on the merit or you don't. Why are we talking about her being jealous of what? Is that a sneak diss way of calling her ugly? I think her being labeled as ugly is really, especially as I've gotten older. I'm married, so I'm not looking like that. But especially as I've gotten older, I don't even look at women. You could have the most perfect, exterior looking woman. You mean like Margot Robbie or something like that? I'm like, that's mid. And maybe the personality comes out and then that makes that person attractive. To me, Pearl's a queen. I have no problem with Pearl and her looks. I think it's because of her personality, her intelligence, the way she handles things like a boss. For me, that boosts her. And I think that's probably the problem I have with AOC. Some people think AOC is attractive. Unless you do like super AI enhancement, I don't even look at her like that. I think Ilhan Omar is more attractive, and even her, I don't look at her like that because of the way they act. So for me, the personality plays a role. Maybe that's why I think so highly of Carrie Lake in the looks category, maybe even Candace Owens, because I think they look good, plus they got the personality, the intelligence with it. I don't have to agree with a person, but I don't know if that's what Tim, but what is jealousy? Maybe because they got married and she's not? I don't know. Was she really expressed that she wanted to get married? I don't know. But what does that have to do with anything? Tim just finished saying, my personal life is none of your business. So I think you should apply that to Pearl. And I think I don't have a problem if you bring it up and say, well, it's kind of ironic. Okay. And then, and we keep moving on.
Middle MAGA.